Is that working? There we go. Yay. If we are running slightly behind, I think it's mainly because everybody is chatting outside to our lovely sponsors, which is great. So we are going to give it a couple of minutes, and hopefully we'll still be on time today. But if you can see your colleague, please feel to wave them in. They will have time later to chat to sponsors. So we will get going in about 2 minutes' time. Morning. Right, good morning, everyone. We are going to make a start because otherwise we'll be all off time for the entire day and I'll have a little cry. So welcome to day 2 of the HELOA National Conference and a massive welcome to our day delegates that are joining us today. You missed the quiz last night. Please ask about the quiz. There were some strange rounds going on in there, but do ask about the quiz. So I've just got a couple of announcements to do today. This is pretty much the only time we're going to have you all in one place before the end of conference tomorrow, and obviously we don't want to do boring announcements tonight. So do try and pay attention to some of these because it is about tonight and tomorrow as well. I'm going to see if my clicker works. I'm not good with a clicker. There we go. Yay me. So we did start yesterday with a thank you, and I'm going to start today with it as well. Thank you, everyone, for being here, for joining us. Again, thank you to our day delegates for joining us today. Yesterday was insane for the training team. It was fantastic. We're back at conference. And from my point of view, what was absolutely amazing was all of you guys. You came and asked us if we were okay. You came and asked us if you could help with anything. We've had a speaker that stood in very, very last minute. So a massive thank you to all of you for just being here and rolling with it and hopefully having a great time. Obviously, everyone is still wearing the masks. We love the masks. It's not a masquerade ball tonight, but, you know, we're still all about the masks. We do have some packs of lateral flows at the conference desk if anyone does want to take another test today or wants to take another one tomorrow. So thank you all for wearing your masks. Wi-Fi, if you are joining us today and want to log on to the Wi-Fi, it is just Carden Park, and you're able just to log on. There's no password or anything like that needed. With that one, dietary requirements, my favourite thing ever. Hopefully everything was okay at breakfast. Please come and let me know if there's any problems with that. The key thing is tonight for the gala dinner. If you have any dietary requirements, you will need to pick up a name card. This will be outside in the bar area this evening, and Dylan and Ashley will be on hand to help with that. However, if you did not order the beef and the delice, you also need to get a name card. So no matter what you ordered, if it wasn't the bruschetta, the beef, the delice, you also need a name card. This will just really help speed up service tonight because obviously there's a lot of you and we all want to eat. So please do make sure you pick up that name card before you come into the ballroom this evening. The conference competition, this has changed this year. It's very exciting. Hopefully you've all read in the brochure about the prizes. If not, I'm going to go through them now. But conference competition is slightly different this year. You've already seen our lovely sponsors in the corridor. They all have a pack of raffle tickets. So when you chat to the sponsors, have a good conversation with them, they will then give you a raffle ticket. Please write your name on the back of the raffle ticket, and then there will be a box, probably on the conference desk. We're still waiting for Coops to bring me said box. Please put your raffle ticket in the box, and then we'll be drawing out a first, second and third place prize tonight. The first place, the prizes are a £200 Carden Park voucher. I wanted a woo, so thank you. The second place is a Kindle, and the third is a very nice chocolate hamper, better than last night's. So it's definitely worth getting involved with our sponsors, and they are fantastic. I know a lot of us work with them already, so do chat with them. And it is thanks to them that conference can happen at the prices that we're able to offer it. Wellness hour. Seemed like a great idea when we planned this. Actually was quite a lot of hard work. But you've all hopefully been able to book something that you want to do this afternoon. If you do want to change your session, we do have some slots available on some of the activities. So do come and chat to us at the conference desk, and we can see if we can swap any of your activities out. You've probably noticed already, he's been pointing it at me for like the last few minutes, we have a photographer in the room. I know some people don't maybe want their photos taken, so please come and see us and get an orange lanyard, because it's all about the different lanyards. If you don't want your photo taken, and then Nick will avoid taking your photo. He is around for pretty much all day and into this evening as well, so lots of photos from the lovely Nick. And then tomorrow, in terms of checkout, if you are with us in Carden Park, you do need to try and check out before you go to your first session in the morning. It just means that it's not a mad rush in the break trying to get checked out in the morning. So please try and get checked out for 9:15 in the morning. I think I've covered all the important things. Got one more slide. Hopefully I've not forgotten anything. One thing I have forgotten, as I did yesterday, is actually to introduce myself, and Rena told me off yesterday. So for those of you who don't know me, I am Emily. I am the conference membership liaison person. I actually stepped down from this role on Friday, and Jonas, our venue liaison, he also steps down on Friday. So if you want to be me or Jonas next year, come and chat to me and we can talk you through about actually what we do other than rock back and forth over the last week. It's a great job, I promise. You get to come and do food tasting. Really fun. So the other thing to let you know, I don't like a clicker, it's stressing me out. There, oh, it spoiled it. I went too quick. So as some of you know, there is a session, some session changes. There's been quite a queue with Rena this morning getting some of those changes done. If you've not had chance to change your session, do come and see us during the breaks, and we'll be able to change those sessions. And that goes obviously with Wellness Hour as well. And then I've spoilt it, but we'll go again. It is Ashley's birthday today. Ashley is our group chair from London, so we decided at about 1 o'clock this morning to embarrass her. So happy birthday, Ashley. I am going to be quiet now. I don't know where she is. Oh, she's there. She's right in the middle. There we go. I'm going to be quiet now because I think Amy might kill me if I keep going, and we'll get the awards started. I'm just going to leave that there.
Hello. So for those of you who weren't here yesterday, I'm Amy, so I work alongside the training team. So this morning, oh, there is another slide. Here we go. So this morning we're going to have some presentations for the HELOA Best Practice Awards. So for those of you who don't know, every year we have the HELOA Awards. So we have 5 awards this year. We'll be announcing them tonight at the gala dinner. We had lots of great submissions. And this morning, we're going to have some presentations from the shortlisted nominations for the Best Practice Access, Student Recruitment, Outreach and Widening Participation. I think I said that wrong. But yeah, we had lots of amazing submissions, and then we'll go through the voting later on, because you guys will be able to vote on these submissions. They're going to do 5-minute presentations, starting with Loughborough, and then you'll be able to talk with them outside. They've all got some stands, but we'll talk about that after the presentation, because I don't want to keep them. They have 5 minutes.
Gosh, not scary at all standing up here. Let's hope that moves on. Okay, good morning everybody. My name's Lisa. I work at Loughborough University and want to thank you for listening to me this morning. Hopefully I'll keep you all awake for 5 minutes. I'm going to time myself. I'm here to talk about the Why It Matters resources that are essentially a set of case studies delivered by alumni and researchers, and they talk about why their subject matters to them, to their career, and in general when they're talking about research, what's important about studying history, biology, geography, whatever their subject was at undergraduate level. To go alongside this set of case studies, there's also some classroom activities, and the case studies are available to download for teachers and advisors online. We also have a big printed manual of them that we're delivering to schools as well. Right, about the clicker, there we go. My original thought behind this was that I simply wanted something for the team to take out when they went out to HE fairs and they got that question about why should he study art, what's he going to do with that, what's he going to do when he leaves university. There's no jobs if you study English, art, maths, whatever it is. So I wanted to actually get people who'd studied those subjects to tell their story and to talk about why their degree matters in their career. And it grew from there, essentially. As I started to gather together the case studies, I learned a ton. We were taking them out and sharing them when we were on HE fair stands. And what I found was that the teachers wanted copies of them. And they were then starting to use them in their own conversations. So this project that I thought was quite small to begin with and was just for the team to use became a set of well over 100 case studies. We're now in the situation where I develop new ones each month, which allows me to share those with teachers through email, so they're constantly in contact with us, they're constantly talking to us about how they're using them. So it's really grown. And with that, I started to think about what my aims were, and again, they developed over time. And essentially what this is about is supporting students at the end of Key Stage 4 and throughout Level 3 study to think about what they want to do, after they graduate, after they graduate from school or college, whether that's to go on to university, into higher education, or whether that's to go to college or do an apprenticeship, but to think about their roots and think about the choices they made. What I found was that the more I spoke to wrong slides. I always do things in the wrong order. But the more I spoke to alumni and researchers, the more I found that they were so honest about the mistakes they'd made, about where perhaps they'd had to retake A-levels, BTEC subjects, where they'd chosen the wrong undergraduate course and had to change. And they were telling these stories really openly. They talked about their university experience through the cards, so some of them talked about the issues they'd had. They talked about swapping universities where things had gone wrong. And then when I get to share those resources out to school, the schools, either the teachers or the advisors, are using those in individual conversations. So it might be that they're talking about post-16 options, or it might be that they're talking with a student who's struggling with anxiety, because there are some of our alumni who've spoken very openly about that. And it's become a really rich resource that gets refreshed probably monthly with a whole new set of cards that allow me to email out to teachers. This has gone up now since I submitted this, so we've got well over 100 cards, well over 200 schools registered for the project. What I wasn't expecting was for students to register as well. So we now have students who regularly get updates and they particularly select a subject that they're interested in. So I share cards that are relevant to them. And it allows me to really collect the feedback. So I'm getting lots of messages back from teachers and advisors about how they use these cards, whether it's simply at one of those options evenings for post-16, where you want to, I've come from teaching maths, and I was regularly getting the, why should I study maths, what's the point of this? So I've got maths teachers who are putting the cards up as part of their own display to speak to students about studying maths post-16. They can then look at where that maths might take them if they carry on and study that at degree level. So it's been a real joy to work on. I love it when a new alumni or a new researcher wants to contribute because it allows me to share that out. And I have to say, when I go out to HE fairs now, I feel better prepared to say, well, I've heard of somebody did this, somebody took this route. I think that one of the main things that I've learned is that you might start, like I did, studying a maths degree. Don't use my maths now, but my degree's taken me to where I want to be. And that comes through very strongly in all the advice that the contributors give us. So I need to wind up there. Thank you very much for listening. Hopefully it's of interest. Come and talk to us. I'm always looking for new ideas. The next step is some videos, so I'll finish there. But thanks, Amy. Thank you.
Thanks, Lisa. If you want to talk to Lisa more about that project, she does have a stand outside. She's going to be here throughout the day, so you can go talk to her during the breaks. So next we have the University of Birmingham. So Claire's going to go.
Hello everybody, my name is Claire Churchill. I'm the Outreach Manager at the University of Birmingham. And firstly, just to say we're delighted to be shortlisted for this award, especially alongside so many innovative and inspiring programmes. I'm going to talk to you today about our Access to Birmingham programme and how we successfully redesigned it to meet the needs of learners in 2021. Much of the work I'm going to talk to you about was led by our A to B programme lead, Claire O'Driscoll, as well as other members of our A to B team. So to give you a little bit of background, established over 20 years ago, A to B is one of our forms part of our Pathways to Birmingham suite of WP entry programmes. If students complete any of our Pathways to Birmingham programmes, they'll be eligible for a contextual offer, which is 2 grades below our standard offer, and also enhanced funding of up to £3,500 per year of entry. So hopefully really good benefits for the students. A to B in its previous form used to involve students writing a 2,000-word academic essay after they'd completed their A-level examinations, which was then assessed and marked by one of our academics at Birmingham. So I mentioned that it had been running for 20 years and there were no fundamental problems with A to B, so why did we want to change it? Well, one of the main reasons is that we felt that asking students to write an academic essay after their A-level exams presented too much of an unnecessary burden on students who already had barriers to their success. The fact that they had to write an essay would have put some students off, and also, unfortunately, every year a small number of students did fail the essay, which meant that they weren't eligible to benefit from A to B, despite them meeting our entry criteria. Also, the number of students on A to B had grown significantly over recent years. We now work with around 1,000 students each year, which causes a large burden on academic time. And lastly, when we ran focus groups, we found that A to B actually wasn't preparing students adequately for the transition from school to higher education, and students still had questions about university teaching and learning. So as you can see, we had a number of aims that we wanted to fulfill when modifying A to B, and perhaps the overarching aim is that we wanted to create a programme to support students from underrepresented groups with the transition to higher education, and ultimately lead to more of these students studying at the University of Birmingham, and hopefully in the future leading to better degree outcomes and higher retention on programme. So following a series of focus groups and other research with students and academics, we redesigned A to B for 2021. The programme now consists of students taking part in a lecture in the subject that they've applied for, followed by a seminar or small group activity which will model the way that they will learn at university. They then follow this up by taking a short self-evaluation questionnaire and writing a reflective assignment, which helps them focus on what they've been through and how they can prepare for starting university. All of this is supported by unique and innovative resources which we placed on our VLE for the A to B students. And running A to B in this way reduced costs by around 70%, and these costs have been repurposed and spent on other WP activities within the team. So some numbers to show you the scale of what we did in 2021. So we worked with close to 1,000 students and had 923 reflective assignment submissions, which resulted in 636 entrants to the University of Birmingham, the highest ever total of A to B students, and we were absolutely delighted. And this table here gives you a bit of a context of the impact that really was. So you can hopefully see that both all of the completion rate, the assignment pass rate, and the overall A to B pass rate all rose by over 10% by changing A to B in this way. And we now feel confident that A to B itself is not a barrier to students entering the University of Birmingham and actually supports their entry. The number of entrants we had as well, to put it into context, was up 28% on an already record-breaking year in 2019. So again, we were delighted by that. So I've talked a lot about what we did, facts, figures, numbers, but now I want to talk and move on to the impact on the students. So before A to B, we questioned the students, and around 50% said that they felt prepared for university, so not a very high proportion. After A to B, we asked them the same questions, and hopefully you can see here that on all measures, A to B had a positive impact on the students, with 95% more prepared for university. We asked the students to describe A to B in 1 or 2 words, and the top 3 responses were interesting, enjoyable, and confidence building, which we were delighted by. So my time is running up, so I just want to quickly end with some student feedback. And we had so many examples that I wish I could share more with you, and if you come to our stand, you can see more. But we got a sense that A to B helped provide students with an insight to university, gave them a bigger grasp on what coming to university would be like, and help with the transition. They also were grateful for the experience, and although they were nervous, and many of them said that they enjoyed it and would recommend it to others, which is fantastic. Lastly, we also got some feedback from academics, and again, this was overwhelmingly positive, and I think working with the students on the seminars really helped dispel persistent myths amongst some academics that students from disadvantaged backgrounds are in some way less able. They enjoyed working with these students. They said often that they were more prepared than undergraduate students, and they're looking forward to teaching them when they join us. I think that's the end of my 5 minutes now, so thank you very much for listening. Myself and my colleague will be on the stand later on today if you have any questions, and we look forward to speaking to you then, or do drop us an email. Thank you very much.
Liam's already coming up, but yeah, it's Liam from University of Coventry.
Good morning, everybody. My name's Liam, I'm from Coventry University, and this is a project that we've been working on. It's called New Year, New Beginnings. New Year, New Beginnings aims to support young people with their well-being and mental health, providing them with an opportunity to think about the past 12 months of living through a pandemic, as we've all done, and how it's affected their lives, possibly in a positive way as well as maybe a negative way. And it's an opportunity to think about their future and their hopes and dreams for that future as well, whilst hopefully relieving some stress and anxiety as well. So the objectives for the project, as you can see on the screen, is to think about their ambitions, aspirations to the future, their personal experiences living through a global pandemic, the opportunity to participate in a national project, but also remove some of those financial barriers as well of being part of the project. Support for well-being and mental health by giving them something creative to focus on, and also looking to reduce that digital divide as well. Originally, this project was designed as a back-to-school activity in January 2020. We all know what happened in December with the third government announcement about going into a lockdown, which really sort of put an emphasis again back on this project for, again, those young people who are going to have a disruptive education again. So really sort of this, I say, really helped them to sort of look at that project and to say, give them something to do in terms of not being online learning. Originally, we set a goal of 400 that we wanted to reach out to across the UK. And I remember talking to my manager at the time when I pitched the idea. She sort of said, isn't 400 a little bit ambitious? And I completely agree with her as well. But again, we'll come up a little bit later about sort of how many people we did reach in the end. So when we started planning in the early development stages, I just really wanted a simple idea of creating an activity that was based around the tree. So this is what it started off as. It didn't really get an awful lot better. As you can see, I'm not a graphic designer or a designer of any description. As you can see, it looks more like a fish than a tree. So luckily, we've got a very good designer at Coventry University. His name's H, and I went to him with this idea, and 2.5 months later, he created what we have here today, and hopefully you'll be able to see it on the stand a little bit later. So a self-standing 3D tree, and I say it just purposely pops out the card, which is quite satisfying in itself. So the focus was on mind dump, your dream big, and your community. So there's 3 sections to the tree, and it just gives the opportunity to sort of those young people to design their tree however they like, whether that's drawing, colouring, painting, attaching images, writing a poem, a short story, photos, whatever they like to do, and it's completely theirs. So we gave them that blank canvas, and then say we'll be able to design their own trees that way. Again, looking at, say, reducing that stress and anxiety, but also being able to sort of share their thoughts, feelings, ambitions, and frustrations, hopefully in a creative way as well. As part of this as well, we created a competition, so the young people, if they wanted to, could enter the competition as well. And also what we did as part of that is we enabled them to remove those financial barriers, as I said earlier. So everything was provided. All they needed to do was to go onto our website, register for the activity, and then that pack will be sent to their home address free of charge. And also we included a self-addressed envelope as well, so they could return their entry to us free of charge. Felt tips, pencils, crayons, it was all included in the pack as well. And they had the opportunity to, say, enter into the competition, win some Coventry University goodies, because we love giving them away, and an Amazon voucher as well. As we sort of went through, as they going into a third lockdown, we also then developed teacher resources as well, so it could be delivered in school. And the aim, really, was to create a forest of hope using all of their entries. We had over 800 entries returned, which was amazing, and actually I didn't have a big enough space to display them all, unfortunately, but there are some of the entries that we had, and I've brought some of them with me today, so you'll be able to see them outside on the table out there. In terms of impact, these are some of the comments we had from teachers and students, but to say really sort of focusing on, again, if you like the statistics, is we sent over 4,500, that number has actually gone up, which completely smashed any sort of target, aim, ambition that we previously had, working with over 90 schools across the UK. And as I say, we had over 800 trees that were returned to us, but many of the young people decided to keep them for themselves, which is, I think, fantastic in itself as well. So in terms of sort of our target, we sort of exceeded that. But really just to wrap up, to say thank you for listening. The young people did all the hard work. Come and see their creations. Don't have to come and talk to me. Just come and see the creations that they've done. The time and effort that is spent on these trees are just incredible. So please come and have a look and see what they've done. And we've also got some blank ones as well. So if you wanted to take your own tree and create it, we've got some felt tips and pencil crayons as well. So come and see us and have a chat to us. Thank you for listening.
Okay, so we have our last nomination, which is Ben from Liverpool, John Mears.
Hello and good morning, everyone. My name is Ben. I'm from Liverpool John Moores. I'm in the outreach team here. So I'm here today to talk about our virtual summer school from 2021, which was this last year. So a little bit of background. This is previously an in-person event. So it's a project that we run every July. It's normally over 3 days, and that's done twice, so normally 2 weeks apart. We'd expect between 200 to 300 students to take part each year, and that's reflected in our 5 faculties having around 20 different subjects that would take part each year. There is a priority towards underrepresented groups as identified by the OFS, and actually this project is in partnership with Shaping Futures, the Liverpool Uni Connect, where it's an institutional project, but actually they fund places for students that are on their outreach programs each year. It's specifically for Year 12 students to help those Year 12 students prepare as best as possible for university. So, challenges. We all remember the pandemic, and in 2020 we decided to make the decision to cancel the summer university, much to everyone's disappointment. In 2021, we were faced with new challenges. The world was slightly opening up, and we actually wanted to do something a little bit different. Due to social distancing, we decided to produce a virtual summer school. Now, in terms of creating this, we had no idea what type of platform to use. We're very much used to 200 or 300 students being in one place, so how to do that virtually was quite a challenging idea. Logistically, the planning was quite tough, so what we decided to do was research as much as possible. We did loads of looking at different websites and platforms that we could use before deciding to do it all in-house where possible. We did research with colleagues at different institutions. We spoke to teachers and advisors where possible, as well as students, so that we made sure that we were getting the best project possible for those students. We had to ask ourselves with regards to staffing, would it be more or less than if it was in a physical summer university? But the main question that we asked ourselves continually from the start until the end was, are we going to produce exactly the same experience and quality of program virtually? So in terms of the structure, it followed something like this. We wanted to try and get students engaged on a daily basis. So what we decided to do was have as much live content as possible. So the students were accepted onto the course if they were from a WP background or from a certain cohort that we're looking to work with, and then it was opened up to other students afterwards. We engaged our academics, so around 25 different academics were involved, maybe a little bit more actually, across 22 different courses. We wanted them to produce the projects. There was no point us telling them exactly what to do. We wanted them to come up with those ideas. The idea being that we would have a predominantly live recorded session and some pre-recorded sessions if their availability wasn't there. What we decided to do was to have some independent study time after the live sessions in the morning. The independent study time allowed the students to access the materials again, but also to work on their projects that they're completing. In the afternoons, we had outreach sessions. So these are maybe student finance games, and we had involvement from our study skills team. We had the Uni Connect Shaping Futures team come over as well. And we also had some more generic outreach sessions, such as thinking about HE. In the evenings, we had a load of fun sessions. Those fun sessions included a motivational speaker. We also had a live stream along of the film Yesterday. Obviously, being a Liverpool institution, this was great. We had cook-alongs, we had quizzes, and we wanted to try and engage those students on a regular basis throughout the whole day. So, some of the unique aspects. As I've already mentioned, each morning we had a live session. This was recorded live, and then what we decided to do was to release this later on that day. So it involved editing up to 20 videos throughout the afternoon for students who were unable to attend live. The decision behind this was because we wanted to enable as many students as possible to access this program. Because of the time of the year, the last week of term, some FE students might have already finished, whereas some other students maybe could have availability because they were winding down for the end of the year. We created a social media site, Slack. Now, this was accessible 24/7 for the students, and we decided to man this for 12 hours of the day with our staff and student advocates. On Slack, the students could access and speak to a range of different services, but also documents. So for each subject, we created a specialist Slack page that we then included vlogs, We then included podcasts, further documentation, links to different materials as well, and then they could chat about that subject throughout the day, as well as chatting to our student advocates. We created a bespoke calendar for each student, and we gave that to them a week in advance, which meant that they can then see when their live sessions were in order to attend those as best as possible. Each morning, we decided to release that day's sessions. When we were deciding what to do, instead of bulk releasing everything at the start of the week and waiting to see whether the students were still engaged at the end of the week, by slowly drip feeding that day by day, we had that same return from students coming back again and again, and we felt that we could track the engagement of students throughout the whole week and see whether they were still attending. So in terms of outcome, there was significantly less budget than if this was a physical event. In the physical world, we would spend around 4 times as much. It was around a quarter of the budget. Throughout the whole of the pandemic, I think we could all agree that it's been difficult engaging with WP cohorts. So this ended up being one of our best vehicles, engaging over 250 different students onto this program. We grow closer connected to our academics, working with them on these projects to create the best project for those students, and I've got some examples coming up. The students who took part were also eligible to receive a 16-point UCAS deduction for 2022 entry. And when we're monitoring that already when it comes to applications, it shows that more students are actually wanting to come to LJMU than if we had the physical event. The student connection to LJMU was still evident as well, as loads of comments throughout the whole week about how they were enjoying the process and enjoying LJMU, and that was represented within the feedback as well that we received at the end. There's now a consideration that we need to do something virtual or at least hybrid from now on. We noticed that the students who took part were slightly different from the ones who would take part in the physical events, and it allowed us to get to more students than possible. So that's the biggest lasting impact that we've noticed from this. I've now got some examples of the work, and after this, you can come and speak to me on the stand, and you will be able to ask me any questions. But thank you very much. Cheers, guys.
So yeah, thank you for all of those shortlisted for coming and doing a presentation. So as I said, they're going to have their stalls to the side out here for the full day. You can go talk to them. They also have a summary in the conference brochure if you want to read a bit more about the project. So how voting's going to work is you can use this QR code. It is only one vote per institution, so hopefully you know who your primary contact is. You can go and talk to them if you have like specific feelings about one of the nominations. I'm sure it's going to be a difficult choice. We had lots of really incredible submissions across all of the awards this year. So yeah, they're all just very brilliant submissions, and they've put a lot of work into that as well. So we now have a bit of time left before your first workshop at 10 o'clock, so if you want to go grab a brew, and if you have any questions about where your room is as well, make sure to just find one of us with a blue lanyard, and we can go and direct you to where that is. So yeah, thank you very much, and just thank you again to our nominees.